Welcome to the Air Mobility Command Report. I'm Airman First Class Charles Simonet. Deployments are a fact of life in the Air Force. When asked, many airmen will say that the best part of a deployment is that first moment with your loved ones when you come home. In our first story, Senior Airman Jonathan Farwell takes us to Dyess Air Force Base for just one example of families reuniting after a deployment.
C-130s from the 317th Airlift Group have returned home to Dyess from various overseas locations. After a few months, families and friends are reunited once again.
It was a short deployment, but it's really good to be back and see the family. Everybody always misses your family.
The 317th supplies C-130s to places such as Ramstein Air Base, Germany, and Djibouti, Africa, to support many different types of missions. Major Will Soto was the detachment commander for the 75th Expeditionary Airlift Squadron in Djibouti during a 4-month deployment. After returning home, he is happy to be back with his family.
Oh, I'm so excited. I've been missing you guys so much. Got my wife over there taking pictures, and my son and my daughter. I'm so happy to be home, just like everybody else is.
It is important to have the help and support of both personal and military families. And while deployments are not easy, it makes the return home worth it in the end. Senior Airman Jonathan Farwell, Dyess Air Force Base, Texas.
Last year, AMC airmen flew over 80,000 sorties. That's around one departure every 2.5 minutes. In order for this to happen, aircraft require maintenance to stay mission ready. Technical Sergeant Jason Armstrong shows us how the airmen at Little Rock Air Force Base are using specialized platforms to improve the care of their C-130 fleet.
These platforms are known as ISO stands, and the isochronal maintenance shop uses them daily to perform detailed inspections and service for C-130s.
They improve the maintenance process, and largely they reduce the amount of time required to perform the operation. And the less time that the plane spends in here, the more time it spends defending freedom.
A set of stands takes about an hour to configure, but once in place, there is no need to reposition them because they fit perfectly around the entire aircraft. Using the ISO stands gives maintainers an average 24 additional hours of dedicated inspection time towards each C-130.
We use those 24 hours not to get out faster, but to work more things on airplane that we normally wouldn't get the opportunity to work.
Using these platforms, about 90 C-130s are inspected each maintenance cycle. That nearly doubles the amount of aircraft inspected using the older models. Tech Sergeant Jason Armstrong, Little Rock Air Force Base, Arkansas.
U.S. Transportation Command provides the U.S. with the most responsive strategic mobility capability the world has ever seen. U.S. Transcom recently unveiled the Transport Isolation System, developed to transport patients with highly infectious diseases. Senior Airman Timothy Kirchner shows us how the TIS is allowing the Department of Defense to move the nation's military members and their patients safely.
There are many concerns about infectious and contagious diseases such as the Ebola virus and what the military is doing to keep our service members safe. United States Transportation Command is implementing the use of transport isolation systems to safely transport infected patients inside of air mobility aircraft.
We have an obligation when we put members of our military or of our federal government into harm's way anywhere on the planet, that we're able to bring them home in the hands of medical technicians that can provide definitive medical care if they're injured in the pursuit of whatever the mission is. We don't ask our people to go, we order them to go. So part of our obligation in giving that order is that we will take care of them.
The first 3 units were sent to Charleston Air Force Base for training, and other units will be delivered based on ongoing world events. Senior Airman Timothy Kirchner, Scott Air Force Base, Illinois.
That's it for this edition of the Air Mobility Command Report. To view the full versions of these stories, go to www.youtube.com/user/mobilityairman. And if you know of an airman on your base who deserves to be featured, contact your local public affairs office.